Charlie sat down with Claire and Elsa. A moment later, Gavin followed and slid into the seat right beside Elsa. As soon as he sat down, he smiled and asked Elsa, "Elsa, I heard you came to Orus Hill to work for the Grand Group?" Elsa nodded. "Yeah, I just started." Gavin beamed. "What a coincidence! My dad is a deputy general manager of a department at the Grand Group. I'll have him look out for you." When he said that, several people at the table gasped. "Wow, Gavin, your dad is a deputy general manager at the Grand Group?" "Yep," Gavin nodded smugly. "He was promoted last year." Someone immediately started sucking up. "The annual salary for a deputy general manager has to be a few million, right? That's incredible. No wonder your family is so rich." Gavin just smiled. "A few million is just his base salary. My dad has a lot of pull and some other income streams. Right now, the Grand Group is working on a new hotel project. After this project is done, my dad stands to make at least 10 to 20 million. A guy sitting across from him leaned forward eagerly. "Hey, Gavin, I want to work for the Grand Group too. I've sent in my resume a bunch of times but haven't heard anything. Do you think you could talk to your uncle and maybe recommend me internally?" Gavin nodded, happy to show off his connections. "Sure, no problem. Just send me your resume later. I'll put in a good word for you." Charlie couldn't help but frown. He had no idea Gavin's father was an executive at the Grand Group. This was getting interesting. He decided he would text Doris later and have her fire Gavin's father. So he deliberately asked, "Gavin, if your father is so high up in the Grand Group, why didn't he get you a job there?" Gavin sneered with disdain. "What do you know? It wouldn't make sense for me to join the Grand Group. Everyone would know I'm his son. I'd constantly have people watching my every move." Gavin continued proudly. "So I'm not even thinking about the Grand Group. I've already started my own building materials company. I'll just use my dad's connections to get contracts directly from them." "I see," someone exclaimed. "You're going to make a fortune." Gavin snorted. "It's all right. I should make a good amount of money within a year." With that, he shot a deliberate look at Charlie and asked, "So Charlie, what do you do now? Are you just washing clothes and cooking since you got married?" Laughter erupted from everyone at the table. Charlie answered calmly, "Besides washing clothes and cooking, I also have to drive my wife to work and give her back rubs. It's a busy life." Gavin looked like he was about to explode. He couldn't believe Charlie's audacity. The guy was so shameless, it was unbelievable. Clenching his jaw, he gritted his teeth. "Charlie, I didn't realize you were so content to just live off your wife." "Huh. Why shouldn't I be?" Charlie said, completely unfazed. "I didn't steal it, and I didn't force my way into it. Why wouldn't I be comfortable with the life I have?" The classmates sitting around them were stunned. They had seen shameless people before, but this was on another level entirely. The crazy part was they were also envious. After all, Claire was absolutely beautiful. To be a kept man for a woman who was basically a goddess? That was something most of them could only dream of. It was a bitter mix of jealousy, envy, and pure hate. If they had a chance to be with a beauty like Claire, who would care if you were a stay-at-home husband? That was winning at life. Gavin was so furious that he was speechless. At that moment, Arya stepped onto the small stage. With a bright smile, she addressed the crowd. "Thank you all for the wonderful gifts today. Darren and I are both so moved. To show our gratitude, we decided to announce the details of each gift. Thank you all again." Since it was an opening ceremony, the public acknowledgement of gifts was a natural part of the event. Originally, Darren didn't want to do this, but he didn't have much say in the matter, so he just let Arya take charge. But many of their old classmates weren't surprised. People love to compare and show off. This way, everyone could see who gave what and judge how well their classmates were doing after graduation. Soon after, Aria began to read from the list. Thank you, Taylor Emerson, for the $1,000 cash gift card. Thank you, Henry Bowman, for the pair of gold bars. Thank you, Alex Novak, for the Jade Griffin statue. Thank you, Gavin, for the $10,000 cash gift card. The first few gifts, whether cash or items, were all worth around $1,000. But when she got to Gavin, who had given $10,000, the students were floored. A $10,000 gift for a restaurant opening? That was huge. Many people looked at Gavin with awe, praising his generosity. Gavin wore a smug look on his face. It was clear he had easily one-upped everyone. At this moment, Aria continued, "And thank you to Charlie and Claire for the old painting." As soon as she said that, the whole room burst out laughing. An old painting? Was it worth even $100? Were they really that cheap? The grand opening of Darren's restaurant was a big deal. The meal alone costs hundreds of dollars per person. And they came to eat and just gave an old painting? Weren't they afraid of being laughed at? Gavin also sneered. Charlie, you can afford a nice car and even get it customized. But for the opening, you only bring a tattered old thing like that? Charlie just smiled faintly. You don't know anything about it. So what makes you say it's tattered? Gavin scoffed. Don't think I don't know what you're up to. You just bought some worthless fake antique to pass it off as something valuable, so no one can figure out how much it's really worth. Then he added aggressively, Be honest. How much did your old painting actually cost? $100? 80? Charlie smiled slightly. This painting is worth more than everything everyone here gave today combined. Gavin was the first to laugh. You've got some nerve. I gave a $10,000 cash gift card, and there are more than 20 other classmates who each gave around $1,000. That's at least another $20,000. You're trying to tell us your painting is worth more than $30,000? Charlie smiled. You're underestimating it. Now the whole class was laughing. Everyone thought Charlie was just full of it. What kind of gift was this? How dare he show up and provoke them like this? An old painting worth tens of thousands? Who was he trying to fool? At this point, Aria Hughes, who was still on the stage, looked down with disdain and asked curiously, Mr. Charlie, I'm curious. Who is the artist of this ancient painting? Is it really worth tens of thousands? Charlie answered casually. A painter from the early American era. He's not very famous. Aria laughed. Oh, what a coincidence. My dad is an antiques expert, and he's very well respected. His name is Orion Hughes. He's an expert in the field. You've probably heard of him, right? Elsa's eyes went wide. Orion Hughes? The historical artifact expert Orion Hughes? I remember him. He was on the national news channel. Is he really your father? Aria smiled. Yes, that's my father. He's actually upstairs right now. How about I ask him to come down and take a look at the ancient painting our classmate Charlie brought? Gavin stood up and said loudly, Then do it, Aria. Have your dad come down and help us appraise it. If Charlie's painting is really worth more than all the other gifts combined, then I, Gavin, will eat this entire table right here on the spot. When they heard Aria's father was an antiques expert, all the classmates looked at Charlie with a mix of pity and scorn. They figured Charlie was just incredibly unlucky. He was trying to act all high and mighty, but running into a real expert? Talk about shooting yourself in the foot. If Aria's father Orion came down, wouldn't Charlie be totally humiliated? Claire was getting embarrassed too. She whispered to Charlie, Charlie, everyone is watching. Don't be so stubborn or you're going to look like a fool. Before they came, Charlie had mentioned buying a painting, but he'd said it wasn't worth much. Now he was claiming it was worth tens of thousands. Claire felt her stomach drop. She figured Charlie was just saying it to save face. But Charlie didn't seem to care at all. "Since you don't believe me," he said, "let a professional take a look." Then he added, "By the way, everyone, don't forget that our classmate Gavin here is a man of his word. He just made another bet. This time, he's offered to eat the table." Gavin, still fuming about the car race, gritted his teeth. "Charlie, you are so arrogant. You embarrassed me with that racing thing, and I was willing to accept the loss. I'm willing to bet again. If that painting you gave is really worth tens of thousands, I'll eat this table right here. If it's not, will you eat it?" Charlie nodded. "Okay, if it's not worth it, I'll eat it." Although it wasn't a famous painting, it was a genuine work by the ancient painter Harvey Pike. The antique shop he bought it from was a national chain that guaranteed authenticity and had a strict policy against fakes. The painting was definitely real. Claire wanted to stop him, but it was too late. Charlie had already agreed. She could only sigh to herself in frustration. Elsa was also a little surprised. Why was Charlie so confident? The more she thought about it, the more she realized he was a very mysterious person. That day at the mansion, the famous Orville Hudson had bowed and scraped to him. She still hadn't figured out why, but she was sure of one thing. Charlie definitely had a secret. Gavin felt like he finally had a chance to get his reputation back. He blurted out, "Okay, everyone here is a witness. Let's have Arya invite her father down to help us identify it." Arya immediately pulled out her phone and dialed, right in front of everyone. "Dad, can you come down for a minute? One of Darren's classmates has a painting, and I want you to appraise it." A minute later, an older gentleman slowly walked down the stairs from the second floor. This was Orion Hughes, a famous antiques expert in Orus Hill. Today was the grand opening of his daughter and future son-in-law's restaurant. He had also invited an old friend to join him in a private room upstairs. He heard that there were ancient paintings that needed to be appraised. As an expert, his interest was immediately piqued, so he hurried down to have a look. Orion stepped forward and walked onto the stage. Arya quickly handed him the gift box containing the painting. "Dad, can you help us identify this? Someone is claiming it's worth tens of thousands." As she said this, she shot Charlie a contemptuous look. Who would believe that a freeloader like him could get his hands on an ancient painting worth tens of thousands? She didn't even have to guess. The painting had to be a fake. The others clearly felt the same way. No one believed Charlie could actually afford to give classical paintings worth tens of thousands. Orion took the gift box, and with everyone's eyes on him, carefully took out the manuscript and unrolled it. The old painting was a bit yellowed and looked pretty unremarkable. Many of the more judgmental classmates immediately started chiming in. "Oh, that doesn't look like anything special." "Yeah, I'd say it's worth $50, tops." "I bet the box is worth more than the painting. The box alone is probably worth $70 or $80. Orion studied the painting carefully. After examining it for a few minutes, he smiled and asked, "Is this painting a gift from one of the classmates?"
Hey amazing viewers, it's Charlie here. Thanks for sticking with us. By the time of the release of this video, only 11% of our viewers have joined the party by subscribing, and 89% of you might miss out on our next mind-blowing video. So what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button and join the exclusive club.